I was expected to marry within my culture until I brought home someone they never expected. Growing up in an Indian American household, I knew the unwritten rules: extra in school, prune a doctor or engineer, and most importantly, marry someone from our community. For 27 years, I nodded and followed the script perfectly. We connected instantly at a hospital fundraiser. She was brilliant, compassionate, and made me laugh like no one ever had. As our relationship deepened over 6 months, I knew she was the one. There was just one massive problem. Jordan wasn't Indian. She wasn't even as she and my parents' expectations. My parents had spent years casually mentioning suitable girls from good families. The Sharma's daughter just finished her residency, my mother would say over dinner. Such a beautiful girl. The possibility of a son being gay wasn't even in their universe. When I finally worked up the courage to invite Jordan to our family Dayawaya Day celebration, my hands were shaking so badly I could barely text him. That night I couldn't sleep, imagining the disappointment in my father's eyes, the tears my mother would shed, the whispers throughout our community. "Are you sure about this?" Jordan asked as we parked outside my parents' house. "We could wait. I've waited my whole life to be honest with them," I replied. The moment we walked in, the festive chatter died. My mother's carefully practiced smile froze. My father's hand stopped midair. Samosa suspended. My teenage cousins exchanged wide-eyed glances. "Mom, Dad, this is Jordan," I said, my voice steadier than I expected. "The person I've been telling you about." The silence stretched for what felt like eternity until my grandmother, the most traditional person in our family, slowly stood up from her chair in the corner. At 86, she rarely spoke at gatherings anymore, preferring to observe. She walked directly to Jordan, looked him up and down, then turned to me. "This is why you've been smiling so much lately?" she asked in Hindi. I nodded, bracing for the storm. She turned back to Jordan. "Do you make my grandson happy?" "I try to every day," Jordan answered. She nodded once decisively. "Then you are welcome at my table." She took Jordan's hand and led him to the food, effectively ending any possibility of rejection. Later that night, I found my father alone in the kitchen. "This isn't what we planned for you," he said quietly. "It will be difficult. People will talk." He was silent for a moment. "Your grandmother lost everything when she came to this country. She always said the only thing worth bringing with you is love." He looked at me directly. It took me too long to understand what she meant. 2 years later, Jordan and I were married in a ceremony that blended both our traditions. My grandmother insisted on helping Jordan dress in traditional Indian attire in my day. "We had no choices," she told him as she adjusted his sherwani. "The greatest gift of this country isn't the money or freedom. It's that my grandson can build a life with love at the center. Sometimes the people you expect to understand you the least are the ones who see you most clearly."